can see that ambulance there as well, and the BSF there, and also many people there who are waiting for Wing Commander Abhinandan to arrive. And we also know that Indian Air Force officials are there at the Wagah border as well. And, you know, talking about Imran Khan, you were talking about how the army in Pakistan, of course, you know, Ambassador Karju was on our show earlier. He said there is an intrinsic anti-Indianism in the army in Pakistan. That's not going to go away. And no matter how much the civilian government, in this case, of course, Imran Khan is a man of the army. Do you think he's worked to the script of the Pakistani army, or did he differ with them in this particular case? And because, you know, there's a lot of pressure we see, at least, well, we shouldn't be dictated by social media, but on the Pakistani side to free Wing Commander Abhinandan. Do you think any of that actually plays out?
Imran has been a creature on the creation of the army.
Yes.
His party was founded by a former head of the ISI, Lieutenant General Hamid Gul.
So he's worked the script.
So he will work to the script. In fact, the pressures on Nawaz Sharif, which led to his exit, were engineered by the military, to which Imran Khan was very much a part.
Right.
So there is no, and given his, you know, razor-thin majority, I mean, if the army chooses, they can pull his government down in a week's time. That's the way the Pakistani system works. So he is not going to take on the military. The military perhaps has taken a decision to stay in the background and let him face the music. And that's what always happens. It happened to Nawaz Sharif during Kargil. That for General Musharraf's doings, he took the rap. This will continue. The point is, at some stage, is he going to do what Nawaz Sharif did?
Yeah.
Challenge the military.
He may be forced to. He's the civilian face of the government. There are compulsions of being the civilian face.
That's a new game. But as I see it, unless there is continuous diplomatic pressure, financial pressure on Pakistan, I mean, you'll have to move away from the military part of it. They are not going to change.
In fact, sir, my colleague Anas Malik is live with us now from the Wagah border. And Anas, now we are expecting any minute now to see visuals of Wing Commander Abhinandan. We know that he's already left from the other side. What are you picking up at this point?
Well, Bhairavi, just a while from now, there was a heavily guarded contingent that came, and it was still unclear that who was in that heavily guarded and armored vehicles. But what we are picking up is that indeed it would be Wing Commander Abhinandan in those vehicles. But we're yet to hear an official word on that. Going by, the Indian High Commission officials are also yet to arrive at the Wagah border. As we speak, they left. Remember, they left Islamabad at about 11:45 a.m. in the morning. It's roughly a 4.5 hour drive, 4.5 to 5 hour drive from Islamabad to Lahore. So they would be here any moment now. Yes, Bhairavi.
So we're expecting them any moment now, and of course, Anas, now you're saying that the security convoy has moved, and it usually takes that much time. I mean, it's obviously reaching anytime soon now.
Mr. Vajpayee was received at that gate by Nawaz Sharif when he came in 2000,
Yes. I think that one of the reasons, sir, why the beating retreat, and this is my presumption, has been stopped is because the number of the people that come, the crowds just surge, and the crowd control would be a problem. Wouldn't that be one of the factors?
Not only that, this is a serious occasion, not for ceremonials.
Yeah.
And I think combining a serious occasion with ceremonials is not called for. I think whoever took the decision has done the right thing. It's a solemn occasion of a prisoner of war being returned. And let the services and the Air Force handle it hereafter as to what next. I presume he'll be in Delhi later today.
Yes.
And let's leave it then to the Air Force. But I would hope, Air Marshal, that he tells India as to precisely how he shot an F-16 with the MiG-28.
It will come later. It will come
MiG-27 pass.
I think there would be a certain amount of excitement about it, at least to know that.
I personally feel that it will come.
Yeah. You feel that it's going to be announced in some way or the other,
how
this happened, because it sounds...
Once the Air Headquarters has made out the script for him, then he will speak accordingly.
Right, and those visuals on your screens, of course, are of the crowds waiting, and as we've been pointing out, that the beating retreat ceremony has been cancelled for today. For anyone who's not been at the ceremony, well, there are massive crowds that emerge every evening and afternoon at the Wagah border on both sides, and it will certainly take a lot to control those crowds if, in the middle of all of that, Wing Commander Abhinandan was to return. Remember, the Indian side wanted to avoid this simply by asking for an airlift of Wing Commander Abhinandan, but that hasn't happened, and so to avoid any public or media spectacle, they have tried to keep it low profile at least, and to sort of focus on the seriousness of what this is. He is a prisoner of war. We don't want to shift the narrative from what's happened. There has been an attack in Pulwama. 40 of our men were killed. We, of course, also hit terror camps on the other side in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, in Balakot, where a massive number of terrorists were decimated in that attack at the Jaish-e-Mohammed camps, which was headed by the brother-in-law of Maulana Masood Azhar. And clearly the seriousness of this has to be kept in mind. And Anas, are you picking up anything now on why exactly the Pakistani side did not want an airlift, did not allow the Indian side, the option of an airlift for Wing Commander Abhinandan?
Well, Bhairavi, that is primarily because he had to be airlifted from the airports in Punjab, either from Lahore or Islamabad, or it could have been from Islamabad as well. But remember, Islamabad and Delhi does not have direct flights, so it would have been a chartered flight. The other case is that it could have been from the Lahore airport to Delhi. But since the Pakistani airspace is currently shut down on the Punjab front, overall in the Punjab province, therefore the Pakistani side had refused for accommodating that request from the Indian High Commission or the Indian government, that they would want Abhinandan to be airlifted from Pakistan to India. Yes, Bhairavi.
So, in such situations, is he supposed to be shifted in a civilian aircraft, or is it primarily because the airspace is still shut? In fact, yesterday, the Indian side, government sources were indicating that, the Pakistani side is creating fear psychosis by keeping its airspace, shut, and also creating all kinds of rumors that we are moving Navy ships to the Karachi.
It's not just them. If you go through the aviation readings, no foreign airline wants to touch Pakistan at this point in time. Many of them are going across Indian airspace when they are moving eastwards.
Yes.
Especially Western airlines. So I think that is also a factor.
No, but this is an internal flight between India and Pakistan. You think that this wouldn't have happened because the airspace is shut?
No. I think there must have been a conscious decision on both sides, because the tested route by which we bring across people from Pakistan is Wagah Border, not the Lahore airport.
Yes.
Lahore is an airport from which you have occasional PIA flights, not Air India any longer. But I think they have, as I said, they would not grant, I doubt if they would grant permission for a Air India flight or an Indian Air Force flight. This is straight and convenient. She drives to the border, is met by the Air Force and taken.
Plus it denies them the optics.
Yeah, but Air Marshal Kukreja, being from the forces, what is the general protocol for somebody who's just tuning in? How will the sequence of events unfold now in the next few minutes? Like, how does it work?
Oh, he'll be, I'm not too familiar with the protocol procedures, but what I can understand is that he will be handed over to the Indian authorities, and all the paperwork that had to be there, they said that some paperwork was pending earlier, that is why it has got delayed till this time. So if the paperwork has to be finished, then it will carry on, and the papers would be handed over, and the Indians will take Wing Commander Abhinandan sort of, I wouldn't say custody, but take him into their care. And the Air Force will take him away in vehicles to the Amritsar airport to bring him to Delhi.
Right. And of course, the Punjab Chief Minister, Captain Amarinder Singh, was saying earlier that he would go to receive him, but that would certainly be off protocol because that wouldn't really lend. I mean, he's actually retracted from that earlier.
He's a good old soldier.
Yes.
The ADC to General Harkirat Singh in the 65 conflict. But yeah, I think he will. I think let's stick to the dignity of the occasion. And the correctness.
It would create too much buzz also.
Correctness of the occasion.
Correct.
Without politicizing it. It's the Air Force's responsibility, and there's no shortage of aircraft with the Air Force. So it's really up to the Air Force. But I suppose he will be quickly debriefed after he landed on and told various things. But
in the middle of all this, I do want to go back to the point that you were making earlier about the OIC. And the OIC for many, many years has been, has been passing resolutions that have been anti-India. There's been a marked difference this time. There's been a change. There's been a shift. So much so that they've snubbed the Pakistanis when the Pakistanis put their hands up in the air and said, we're not coming if the Foreign Minister of India is coming. But they didn't really relent. What do you think really changed here?
I think, in fairness, in credit to Mr. Modi and the present government, they have reached out. I've just come back from the Wion function in Dubai, and I served many, many years, about 30 years ago, more than 30 years ago, as the Joint Secretary dealing with the Gulf, and therefore I visited. The change in atmosphere now towards India and Indians in the United Arab Emirates is remarkable. The same is true. This is the same Saudi Arabia. We tried to put sanctions on us because we had an Israeli consulate. A total sea change. And I think perhaps the greatest gain we've had is with these countries, because do you know that after the United States, the largest market for Indian exports is the United Arab Emirates.
Right.
So I think that narrative has changed and we can let it continue. As for the OIC, one can never say them. If Pakistan keeps sulking, they may get an odd resolution in their favor. But that's as far as it goes.
Right. Anas is still with us. Anas, my colleague, is still with us. He's at the Wagah border. Anas, what are you picking up now? You were saying that they left at around 11:45 a.m. this morning. And what sort of, is there a lot of crowds on the other side, on the Pakistani side? We know that it's going to be aired on Pakistani television as well. But in terms of protocol, do you have any details of how many people are accompanying the wing commander?
Well, we don't have exact details of how many people are accompanying the wing commander as yet, but what we can confirm that the Indian High Commission officials will arrive shortly at the Wagah border. They've entered through the Lahore toll plaza, so that's roughly another 40 to 45 minutes drive from the toll plaza to the Wagah border. That is from one end of the city to the other. Now, answering your question earlier, Bhairavi, what is going to be the procedure is that once Wing Commander Abhinandan arrives at the Wagah border, he'll be taken to the immigration room, and he'll be taken to the immigration room as well. And okay, as we speak, the Indian High Commission officials have arrived. As we speak, the Indian High Commission officials have arrived, and just taking you back to where I left. Once Wing Commander Abhinandan arrives at the Wagah border, he will be handed over. He'll be taken to the immigration room. Then the Indian Air Attaché, the officials of the Indian High Commission, will be handing over to him the emergency travel document, or that one-pager passport. That one-pager passport, then the Wing Commander will be taken to the immigration counter. He'll be going through the normal immigration procedure, and after that, he'll then be crossing over from the Wagah border into Atari, India. Yes, Bhairavi.
Right, Anas, and well, you're just confirming to us that the Indian High Commission officials have arrived there. But Anas, anything more do we know about his health, how he's doing? Initial visuals suggested that he was injured. He was obviously not doing well. Do we know anything about his health?
Well, as of the Pakistani Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesperson Dr. Mohammad Faisal, in his weekly briefing yesterday, which was alarmingly an off-camera but on-record briefing, which was very unusual, he said that the wing commander is in the best of his health. Initially, he was manhandled by the mob, but then the Pakistani army took him to the combined military hospital, and then they treated him as well. We saw some visuals coming in as well, amateur shot visuals that he was being treated. Then the second video that came in that was released formally by the Pakistani military's PR wing, the Inter-Services Public Relations. We saw him. His left side was swelled up, but by and large, the Pakistani Ministry of Foreign Affairs has maintained that he's in the best of his health. And moments from now, we'll be knowing, the world will be seeing when the Indian pilot and wing commander crosses into the Indian side from the Pakistani side. In just moments from now, he will be here at the Wagah border, and his passport and his travel documents will then be handed over to him so that he could legally cross into. Now remember, the Indian air attaché who just arrived, he will be accompanying the wing commander in his journey from Pakistan all the way up till India in New Delhi. Yes, where we?
All right, Anas, and we're counting down to those minutes when Wing Commander Abhinandan will be back. We know that the High Commission officials have already arrived, and Anas will be tracking all the latest developments with you.